Santo,
Phil, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How was your day?
It's going. It's going. I'm gonna step outside for the first time after this call.
I feel like I'm the guy that you end up stepping out after, anytime we have a call together. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much like usually after like 2, 3 p.m. when most of the meetings end. Yeah, it's pretty much time to take a break.
That's awesome. Busy morning, it sounds like.
I was actually just doing a bunch of work. I didn't have as many meetings today, but yeah, I get too distracted if I'm going outside to do stuff and then having to come back in and it's just like, no. Let's just try to knock some stuff out of the park and then do the outside stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like, especially when you're a homeowner, like there's always stuff to do, man. You know what I mean? Like I saw you had a video the other day of like you washing the sidewalk and like it's endless the amount of responsibilities that come with home ownership. So yeah, I can understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. My break before this call was literally going upstairs and taking some bedspread and putting it on our guest bed for our guests this weekend. And that was my break.
Who you guys got coming over?
We got one of Steph's friends coming over, and
Very
they're
nice.
they're sticking around for the weekend. So
Nice. Where are they from?
they're from Toronto,
Okay, nice.
but we're doing a road trip to Detroit. So we're gonna hang out and then come back here after, so they don't have to drive all the way back to Toronto.
Are they going to the Savior concert?
No, no, we're just going over to buy a bunch of like stuff we can't get here. So like we're going to like Trader Joe's, go have dinner,
Nice.
nice dinner here and stuff. American Costco.
It's significantly different.
Yeah.
They actually have this seasoning. It's a dill pickle seasoning. I use it on all my fish. It's delicious, and
Mm.
it's got like some salt in it as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
highly recommend. Yeah, definitely take a look at that
Yeah, yeah, man. And yeah, the US is such a great thing to have around, like so close to us.
for sure. How far is the drive for you guys? It's probably gonna be like less than an hour or around there, no?
It's like 2 hours to Detroit from here.
Okay, nice.
And then yeah, there's no Costco, unfortunately, by Sarnia, but the Sarnia crossing is like an hour from here.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but there's not as much there. We have to go all the way to Detroit to get like a Trader Joe's and a Costco.
I'm surprised because I guess that's Michigan across from Sarnia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're both in Michigan, I guess like just different parts, like Detroit's definitely got everything. And then all these like smaller towns,
yeah.
just random stuff. Like you can probably get away with finding some American grocery stores like Kroger's and stuff, but it's like there won't be a Costco there.
Makes sense. I feel like the northern part of Michigan is a little bit less populated, so it makes sense in terms of like density,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess.
yeah, there's a lot of cool like remote areas of northern Michigan that are just beautiful, spectacular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard great things. A couple of my clients live out there, and yeah, they told me like it gets like proper cold up there too. So obviously it's way more north than Toronto, and say the winters are serious over there. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of great outdoor activities and stuff to do in northern Michigan.
yeah, have you been?
I've driven through there. I've driven to Grand Rapids once,
Nice.
and yeah, there's like lots of great biking trails and stuff, and yeah, it's just like nice remote wilderness um, that you can get also just in parts of the U.S., right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
it's kind of anytime I go to the US, I think of like just the enormity of it. I feel like there's just so much land. It's crazy.
yeah, there is a lot of land, and I mean, like Canada's even bigger, but it's like.
Yeah,
There's a lot of like you can get if you're okay with living out in the wilderness and the remote areas, man, you can pick up some good stuff for dirt cheap over there and um, you know, yeah, just enjoy the outdoors.
absolutely. Yeah, I feel like before I make that change for myself, I probably want to get a hunting license and a gun license and then probably take advantage of that. I at one point in my life, I want to be where I'm like, hunting what I eat what I hunt kind of deal. So
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can get yourself like a group of buddies who set up like a hunt camp somewhere and then you guys just like split like a moose or something. Like, man, if you got like a nice chest freezer, you'll be set for like an entire year of
Yeah, you
meat.
don't need much. You don't need much. Like if you, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get a kill, but if you can, I mean, like you said, you're set. So, uh,
Hmm.
um, so let's chat some testimonial stuff, man. Thank you for
Right.
doing this. First of all, I really appreciate it. So you're down 6 pounds, and from what I have written down here, 12 and a half inches. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great that you provide those numbers because I'm just doing it, and once I hear it from you and I see it on the machines and I see it on the measuring tapes and stuff, it's like wow, like it's crazy to visualize it.
Yeah, definitely. It just helps to put it into perspective in terms of just like data and, kind of I think if you focus on the result, it's really hard to get to the result. But if you just focus on the process, it's really easy to get to the result that you're looking for because you're just executing daily on the things you need to do to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like in terms of my lifestyle, it has like changed for the better. There's a lot of things that I'm much more conscious about that I never was. And it's a good, like well-rounded thing too, right? It's not even just the workout. It's like the food you're eating, your habits, just tracking everything, having a plan and stuff like that. That makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And I think it's just more of like a holistic approach to the whole thing where it's like, okay, I'm not just only working out. I'm also doing all these other things that are also going to assist in the progress that I'm looking to achieve here too, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
So I got a couple questions and, I mean, feel free to go as off topic as you'd like or not. I'm going to end up chopping this up and then just using parts that I feel are best, but I always like to kind of keep it more like a conversation. The first question you ask people is, where were you with your health and fitness before we started the program?
It was not that great, to be honest. There was no real regular routine I had to go to the gym. It was very casual, very much like I would just walk into a gym and be like, what do I feel like doing today? And having no baseline, having no benchmarks, having no real goals outside of just walking in and being like, yeah, you know what? Today feels like a day for doing uphill treadmill. For how long? Who knows? For, like whatever steep incline, I don't know either. And it's just like as long as I'm like, dripping a sweat here and there, it's like great. I did something today. But there was really nothing planned. And like, doing a random swim here and there is like nice. It gets the body moving, but you can't really track progress if you are even having any progress with a casual type workout. So it was not amazing to begin with. Um, didn't really think about, I guess, how my body comparatively was to what it was before because I had no measurements, no pictures, nothing. So I couldn't really say that even my casual workouts were doing anything for me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people end up doing that where it's this idea of quote unquote going to the gym. And yeah, you're going to the gym, but like, what are you doing at the gym? Right. So I think which is fine. For some people, just getting to the gym is a huge hurdle too.
Mm.
So for them to even be in that position, you're already, further ahead than you would be if you weren't going at all. So the fact that you knew that, okay, this is a priority I have to have to some degree, and then when the right time comes along to try and build a little bit more momentum or see some more progress, then, you capitalize on that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of, like having a coach, have you had a coach before? Like what was it like having someone kind of help you guide through your health and fitness?
Yeah, so I never really had an official coach before. Most of my workouts were based on experience, stuff that I learned throughout my time in the military, and doing stuff, a lot of stuff from there. And the funny thing is, even in the military, sometimes these are not necessarily personal trainers or anything like this. These are like other soldiers training other soldiers based on their experiences and what they do. But but it's not really like a holistic sort of training program unless of course you purposefully sign up for something like that. So never really having like somebody give you a one-to-one sort of attention, where they focus specifically on you and not just doing like very generic type workouts. Never really had that before. Nobody really focused workouts and stuff like this and goals on just me. It was very generic. It was just very much like group activity type workouts. You have like an instructor, and then it's like one instructor to like 20 guys. And so you don't really get like a personalized type of experience. And then my my experience would basically be like taking some of that and then applying it to my own workouts, but without any sort of like background or context or really any professional understanding or training about physiology, kinesiology, nothing like that.
It's kind of wild when you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would think that like there's a lot of really good certifications that actually work with military, you know, combat stuff. So you would think that there would be a little bit more structure or a little bit more at least what's the word I'm looking for here. Maybe it's not structure so much as it's just like, a more pragmatic approach to training, right? Especially in a circumstance where it's with the military, right? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it is very focused on like group training more than it is individual. So you get a lot of very generic type stuff, but
mhm.
nothing is specifically catered to you and what's good for your body and what's, what works best for you as an individual because most of the time you're on a course with like a bunch of other guys and like it's not practical, I guess, to have like one trainer to every soldier, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's probably certain constraints that keep it from being that way. But yeah, it's I'm happy that you enjoyed the process and you're still going through it and it's also an honor to be your first trainer. So that's super cool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And even if I did have a trainer, like it's not like you're not just like a trainer at a gym that they give you as like sort of a bonus or an extra something that you pay for because like they're not looking out for much outside of just the workouts that you do at the gym. Like this is much more holistic, much more catered to like your lifestyle, going like stuff in the gym, but also outside the gym too.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what did you love about the first 12 weeks that we did together?
I think a lot of it is really just like just kind of getting to know my body a lot better. I think like not really knowing what my limits were, not really knowing what I was capable of. Um, and just like sort of it's a bit of a process of like discovering yourself. And then actually having somebody guide you through all of that. Somebody who really knows the body well, somebody who really knows you well as you work with them, right? So I think it's just good to have somebody who's focused specifically on you. Like I've never had that sort of like one-to-one attention on my lifestyle or my workouts and my body before.
It's quite different, and for a lot of people, it's really challenging because to have that much of an emphasis placed on you, I I ask you guys tough questions, and I try to put you in a position where it's a comfortable amount of discomfort that promotes change and, like you said, this idea of self-discovery and being curious about your body. Like, oh, I wonder if I can do that weight. Or like, I don't think I can do that today, but maybe I can do that tomorrow or next week, right? And just kind of being in a growth mindset and being willing to explore, okay, maybe this exercise is really challenging right now, but let's see how I can change that over the month and kind of accepting the challenge and, taking it on as just that. So this way it's more engaging for you in being able to enjoy the gym in a bit of a different way that maybe you haven't before. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think like a lot of the great stuff that comes with working with you specifically is like you're going to cater the workouts, the lifestyle, and everything around the individual's goals and the individual's lifestyle. Because everybody has like, various different things that they have to worry about in life, and like we have to learn how to work around that. Where like you wouldn't get that in like a group setting or anything like this. So like, for me, it wasn't necessarily to lose weight. It's obviously like a nice benefit, but like I wanted to convert a lot of what I had into more muscle and just having a stronger core. And that's what we focused on. I didn't necessarily lose that much weight, but doesn't mean that I didn't make any progress on anything, right? Like it's that wasn't my goal.
Of course. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing a lot of people, you know, miss when you take on a journey like this, or when you want to have this kind of change for yourself, where it's like, well, what did you lose? And I think the emphasis of loss isn't the main thing to focus on with this kind of program, where it's more so like, what did you gain? Like, yeah, you lost 6 pounds, but you also lost 12 and a half inches, but you also gained more confidence in terms of like your low back history, more confidence in terms of using the facility at the gym, with more confidence in using the machines maybe you haven't before, and doing lifts that maybe you would be concerned of in terms of like, again, like your low back. So, in terms of what you mentioned earlier about discovering, what was something you discovered over the first few months that maybe was a bit of a surprise, or something that you found was kind of like interesting for yourself?
I think I guess a lot of it would just be the variability of like things you can do. Like I was never really like a functional gym type person. Like a lot of the workouts I did were very like isolated. Like we're working on this specific muscle today or like just this, but it wasn't really like a holistic thing. I guess like a lot of the workouts that I've learned to enjoy are the ones where it's actually like you're actually working like a whole section of your body without even knowing it. And I remember like part of the reason why I had really bad lower back problems was because back when we used to do group training, there was a lot of emphasis on like upper body strength and less on things like core or legs or anything like that. But obviously, if you focus on one section of your body and you neglect the others, you don't like you're gonna end up hurting yourself one day. So that's where like a lot of my problems were was like, okay, I had a really strong upper body previously, but a really weak core. And then all it took was like, one accident or one bad turn or something, and like boom, your whole lower back is like spasming for like the next couple weeks as you try to recover. But it turns out like, you can work out your lower back, your core, and the upper body and everything all at the same time with these functional type workouts that you've introduced me to. Where at the end of the day, you walk out of the gym and it's like, man, you worked out, like you feel your entire body was just, worked out.
Yeah. There's something about that where, I mean, I feel like we're probably in the same headspace in terms of just things like efficiency and getting the most out of the time that you are spending on these things. And for me personally, I train so I don't have to spend more time in the gym. So I want to get in there, spend that 45 minutes, 1 hour, knock it out, go hard, and then, go on with the rest of my day, obviously within the capacity in which I'm able to execute what hard is for that day. But, I think it's definitely a different approach than a lot of other people take. And, if that approach for them works, great. But I just think that when you look at the body as a system, it works in just that, as a system. Our mind is connected to our muscle. We have our lungs, our respiratory system, and our circulatory system. We have all these different systems that interact with each other. So to not try and train them in a way that, stresses them physiologically and puts some demand on them where they can all cohesively work together, I think, you're leaving some money on the table when you train in more of like an isolated way, because that's not necessarily how the body, operates in certain circumstances, of course. But I just think that when you take this kind of approach, it's more applicable to having a better quality of life, because when you're, you know, putting together a smoker, You know you can pick that thing up because you've deadlifted. You have all the right mechanics and strength to be able to do that. Or, when you're doing any sort of stuff at home that requires you to be in awkward positions, you're able to do that because you have the mobility to get into those positions versus straining yourself trying to be in those spots that maybe you don't spend a lot of time in. So I think
Mhm.
it's just more applicable to everyday life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like a lot of the stuff that you end up doing requires your entire body. It doesn't just require only your biceps, right? So it's very much all tied together. And I guess like one of the other cool things that I realized is that you don't even actually need to spend more than like 2 days a week at the gym to really see results. Like you said, like being able to like maximize the value of the time you spend at the gym because most of us are like busy 8 hours a day with work and stuff. But all you need to do is just convince yourself to go to the gym twice a week and just give it your all for like the 1.5 hours to finish that workout plan that you had to do for that day. And it's like get in, get out, and like you have the other 5 days of the week, to do other things. Like it doesn't take somebody going to the gym 4 times a week necessarily to like start seeing results. It's like the quality of the time you spend there when you have a plan, when you have all of when you have somebody, telling you what you got to do. There, you kind of just, get the same sort of value you would as somebody else who's going to the gym and like not really knowing what they're doing, but they're going 4 times a week, but you're probably seeing the same, if not better results than that person is.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would you just mentioning that where it's, you're only going twice a week, you're going twice a week and again, you're getting the most out of those two sessions, across the 12 weeks that we started, it's 24 hours of gym time, which is crazy to think the results you got in 24 hours, really, right? So when you think of it that way in terms of like total time, you know, yeah, we want it to be something where you're able to do it to a capacity where it complements your life. And it's not something where it's like a chore where it's like, man, I got to go to the gym because I have to, right? It's something where it's like, I'm going to the gym because I want to. I enjoy these sessions. I'm in a place where I feel like I'm getting a lot out of it. I think that's where a lot of people start to have maybe a little bit of a weird relationship with the gym or feeling like it's something that is a chore of sorts. And it's because they're not seeing the results that they want, which is understandable that they feel that way if that's the case, right? So I'm glad that, yeah, you recognize that it's only a few hours a week.
Well, I remember one of the questions you asked before starting that program was like, how dedicated are you to actually like wanting to do something like this, right? Like, I think that's the key thing. Like, you can tell somebody, what to do, how to do it, and all this stuff. But if I'm not going to pull my weight and do my part to like go to the gym and give it, my all to finish that program honestly, and like maybe that's why you're not seeing results, I guess. Like you really gotta do your part alongside, right? Like um you're doing your part, but the expectation is for me to also, actually do what you tell me to.
Yeah.
So that's like super important as well because generally like I could definitely see people, trying the 12 weeks and being like, oh, this is not for me or something like that. But did you really like, spend that time to really dedicate yourself to the 12 weeks that you tried? Like it's very, very much like I understand, I get what I want out of it, depending on how much I put into it. So
Yeah. I think it's
yeah.
a circumstance of not just necessarily if you're like if you were to just say I'm going to the gym and then log hours that way by just the amount of hours you spend there, it's also like what are you doing while you're there? Because, if you're just for some people too, like it's a social thing. They want to go after work. There's people that they know that are there, and that's totally cool. It's part of their routine, and that's healthy too for them, right? So there's different levels and different like layers of health, and for some of them, that's their social interaction for the day. That's outside of working hours, and that's great. For some
Mhm.
people, they don't need that per se from the gym, and that's okay too. So,
Yeah, yeah. I guess like at the end of the day, like you really just um I guess what I'm trying to say here is uh crap, I kind of like lost my train of thought there.
No
I
worries,
had
it's all
something
good.
that I wanted to say, but it had something to do with, I guess, like something to do with like sports, because I remember I used to do like a lot of sports, and that was like my workout basically. And I mean, like it doesn't feel like a workout, and that's why it was like it was like fun to do basically. Like a lot of people will go to the gym thinking like, like this feels like a chore because I got to do all of this. And I'd rather like, play sports or something like that. But really like it's very complimentary doing like a little bit of both. I think I had mentioned to you that even all this dry training I'm doing on land has improved like my ability to swim in the pool. And I never really used to do as much dry land training. Like swimming was a very casual workout for me because it was like in terms of value for time, it works out like pretty much your entire body and you get cardio with it.
Hmm.
But I never did the land training I needed to like really improve and see improvements in the pool.
Right.
Um, so that was like a very interesting thing also that I discovered is that all the training that I did on dry land without even having to like practice in the pool, you could already see results in the pool. Just like how much like stronger you are in there without necessarily needing to have swam like once a week. It was just two workout sessions a week on dry land and boom, like performance in the pool also. I didn't even need to go into the pool to see the results.
Yeah, it's so cool because like having a base of strength that allows you to, perform activities that you enjoy leisurely, like swimming, it makes swimming more enjoyable because you feel like you can dig into it a bit more, right? Which is
Yeah.
great. And it's the same thing with like the workouts as well. Like you're mentioning, if you're going to the gym and you're just kind of going to the gym, there's different ways, like we spoke about, where you can make it more engaging for yourself. Okay, last week, because I know I did this much weight, I'm going to try to do this much more weight or do this many more repetitions or take a little bit less of a rest, or maybe I'll add a tempo or a pause this week and try to find ways to keep it interesting and, gamify it a bit so you can feel, okay, well, like what ways can I make this more challenging for myself in a way that's going to keep me engaged? So I think
Yeah.
it's also a degree of just like, how are you participating with the program? And if it's in a way where it's passive, then the results are passive. But if it's very active and you're engaged and you're asking questions like you do, then it makes it much more interesting and it makes it fun.
Yeah, actually, like the fun stuff translates back to the stuff that you enjoy, right? So even if you don't enjoy your workouts, that's fine, but you're going to see improvements from doing those workouts if in your favorite activity, whether it be like soccer, hockey, baseball. For me, it's like swimming, and for me, it's cycling. So like seeing the extra fun that I get from it now because I'm much stronger, makes cycling a lot more fun now. Like on some of the flat roads, I can probably keep up a steady like 30 kilometers per hour, which is like the same speed
Nice.
as in a car on like a local street. So you're like pedaling and at the same speed as the driving, and then you're just like, eyeballing the driver. And then they're kind of like, what the hell? Like, am I going, what speed am I going? It's like, yeah, like you can do like a constant 30 kilometers per hour on a flat road on a bike, which you normally, like, I guess for most people would be somewhere more between like 10 to 20 kilometers an hour is more casual.
Yeah, I think it's neat too, man. Yeah, it makes it makes life more livable. Like you can do things like, hey, I wonder if I can catch that car. I wonder if I can keep up pace with that car. There's a
Yeah.
saying that endurance swims in a sea of strength, meaning the stronger you are, the longer you can maintain that endurance. Your strength is your base layer of any sort of athletic endeavor. So the stronger and more robust your strength is, the more power you can produce, the more, endurance you can hold on to for a longer duration. So the stronger you are, the easier it is for you to do things like that for, a longer period of time or repeat those kinds of efforts as well. And yeah, it's just you get more out of it and you get to stare down drivers while you're on your bike too every now and then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I also have like a lot of friends who in the summertime go golfing. And if you are an avid golfer, you'll notice that if you don't actually work out very often, your core will get very tight after like a good session at like the golfing range, right? Because of all the swings and stuff. It may not look like it's that physically intensive, but you'll feel it if you don't regularly go to the gym and you do like a few days at the golfing range.
Yeah,
But now, like, that can be a lot more fun now because you're regularly working out and your core is always getting stronger. It's always moving. So like you don't feel that anymore after like a nice great day at the golf range. Whereas like a lot of people do that casually, every now and then they're probably crippled for like the next day or so. Um, you'll just come bouncing back the next day and being like, yeah, that was great. Like, your body's already used to all that movement and that strength, right? So,
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely provides the ability to just ha do the things you love and be able to do them more, which is what it's all about, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, in terms of like we're obviously working on an online capacity. Did you ever see yourself working with somebody online? What would you tell somebody who is, hesitant or considering working with a coach online in terms of your experience?
Well, it's funny because like I didn't even know that was a possible thing to do to begin with. I think one of the first questions I asked you was really like, do you do this online? Like, how does that work? Because you're just used to somebody actually like being there, watching you do the workouts and like correcting your form, posture, and stuff like this. But like, like that's what you think of normally when you think about having like a physical trainer. Like physical, you are physically there with me.
Of course.
But no, it's actually very possible. I think a lot of it is just like now you just need to be more conscious and aware of how you're doing things. So like actually doing your workouts against a mirror and seeing your form. The videos help a lot, because the videos will basically help define a lot and the same explanation I guess you would have given me as well. Um, and the fact that you with the technology that we have, you can just like record yourself against a mirror and stuff like that, get critiques and things like this. So it's really not that bad. It is a very possible thing for you to have like a remote trainer. Um, I think at the end of the day, like if anything, it gives you, the ability maybe even to like just sneak in a little bit longer of a rest or something in there. That might help you out, but
Nice.
yeah, it's very possible, and it's a lot of the explanations and stuff are done through videos and the week or the bi-monthly calls and stuff like this. So it was a pretty good experience to see how possible it is to see results. But of course, like as we mentioned before, you got to put in the work, right? Because Santo's not going to be there to like whip you and being like, "Hey, did you?" Like, I mean, you would hope that, if you're going to, pay for a trainer, that's your incentive to really perform.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you the program works if you work the program at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
how well the effort is that you put into it, that's you get out of it what you put into it more than anything. Um, One more question I had for you, which this is not on the questions I usually ask people. We know how much you love food. So how has the program affected, you enjoying yourself? I know you had gone on vacation during the first 12 weeks as well. Like, how has that shifted in terms of like your ability to still enjoy the foods that you love and love to post and all these kinds of things?
Yeah, I think we've had a conversation before about, like what do you snack on when you're like hungry and stuff like this. And like I've always had bad habits for keeping bad things in the pantry and sneaking like little bits of treats and stuff everywhere. But it's if anything now I feel less guilty, I guess, about having some of this stuff because I know like I'm actually working off those calories, or I'm doing it as like a reward of some sort for the work that I'm putting in here. But yeah, I mean it's really allowed me like a little bit more freedom there and being a little bit more conscious about what I put into my body. But the great thing especially is because a lot of the program requires you to intake a lot of protein, it allows you to enjoy your meats and stuff better, especially if that's like what you love. So for me, I love cooking, and I even got myself a new smoker so that I can start experimenting with better ways to like enjoy my protein and better ways to enjoy my food. And I don't have to feel guilty about that anymore because, those smoked chicken wings or that smoked brisket or that turkey um, will basically even help supplement some of the powders if you don't enjoy like a protein powder, and just getting like a natural intake of just good food and gave me, I guess, more of that flexibility and that ability now to really like enjoy my cooking and to enjoy the food that I love eating without any sort of like regrets or even any sort of like feeling that you are being forced to intake protein because that could be hard for some people to like ingest more of a food that maybe they don't like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, you know, it's I don't do meal plans. I don't like doing meal plans. Anytime I have done a meal plan for somebody, they've never followed it. And it's as simple as that. And I tell people like, culturally there's going to be things that you just enjoy. And we're not going to be able to find that in my fitness pal. Or maybe we are going to, or it's not going to be the exact same way because it's something that's homemade and it's like a dash of this and a throw of that. So how do you really know? The purpose of tracking nutrition more than anything is to just recognize patterns and look at, okay, well, like, what am I doing? Bringing awareness to that and using that knowledge to help make more informed and better decisions that are going to positively affect things like your body composition. Recognizing, hey, yeah, you know what? I do keep some more treats than maybe I should or I'd like to in my house, and maybe I can back those off or only have them on a particular day so this way you can still enjoy them because there's no point in doing any of this if we can't enjoy it. Like we want to be able to enjoy good food, time with friends and family, go on vacation, have some stuff we wouldn't normally have. And, when you have a more structured regimen from Monday to Friday, or, when you're in the country, for example, it makes taking that time away from the program, that much more enjoyable. Or, being able to integrate it in a different way while you're away, or maybe just being in a place where it's like, okay, you know what? I don't feel bad about this. These are mindful decisions that I'm making where I know like this is what I'm choosing to do. It's not mindless. And because it's not mindless, it becomes a better experience that you're enjoying much more, and it becomes something that you can really appreciate and hold as a solid memory versus one that maybe you don't feel too particularly happy about.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just so happens to align that like some of my favorite foods just have a lot of protein in it. Like seafood,
Same.
meat, like man. I mean like I can even just substitute a lot of my pastas and my rice with just like a smoked piece of meat or like
That's
a
amazing.
smoked piece of fish. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like this is, I got my 100, 25 grams of protein and probably even more than I need. And also enjoyed like, you know, the foods that I love at the same time.
Amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
any closing thoughts or anything you want to mention about the program you haven't during the call at all?
Um, I think a lot of it is just like, I think maybe people struggle to make that first jump a lot of the times. And I would just say, like, if you have even that small bit of dedication to really change, your life for the better, it's like it's great to work with somebody to make that happen because you're already so busy with like your normal day life. You have all kinds of stuff you need to worry about, and like having somebody who you are accountable to, and somebody who can do a lot of the legwork to get you organized to do something like this is like a huge help. You would never thought that like even a guy who used to work in the military, who got paid to basically work out at one point in his life, would benefit from having like a one-on-one trainer. And ever since I started on that program, it was like, wow, there's so much more benefit to having somebody there to do a lot of that planning for you, to guide you, to show you new things that you never would have thought about. Um, and never would have I thought like, a guy who got paid to go to the gym would start paying somebody else now to, you know, actually like go to the gym. That's like one of the craziest things because like I guess like a lot of people don't realize the value in having somebody there to do that for you one on one. So if you're ever hesitant to really think about like whether this is worth it or not, if you have that dedication to really like commit to it, just give it a shot and like see the difference basically. Like paying somebody to actually do a lot of this stuff for you and to guide you is like worth dividends in value. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
I appreciate you saying all that. I'm super happy with your progress. There's still so much more progress to be had. I know you're going to keep crushing it. Thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to end the recording, but we can stay on the call if you have a few minutes.